What's up, Pilgrim Nation? Welcome back to Nipmuc Nation headquarters here in Quinsigamon. Still a great place to catch some pickerel.
Thanksgiving is a special night. Jimmy Walker used to say dynamite. That's right.
It was week 11 in the Greatest League and the final North versus West and East versus South week of the season. We had a cornucopia of good, or at minimum impactful games, and the stage is set for our series of season-ending in-division showdowns. Let's enjoy the bounty that was week 11 together. Let's get thankful!
I'm Bob Swirsky, and I want to thank everyone for sending those cards to my brother Bill, who recently had another heart attack. We are coming to you live from Ditka's here on Thanksgiving Day, a day for giving thanks for, or taking punishment from, a team that is known as the Bears. The Bears.
Week 11 was our last out-of-division week, and we set ourselves up for a great finish to our regular season ahead. It was North versus West and East versus South week number 4, and it was a wild one. We had 2 teams score less than 60 points, and 3 teams score more than 160 points. We saw our largest margin of victory so far this season, so let's check that one out first.
Well, we have the whole thing planned out.
Oh my God! It's a surprise! And there's a plan? She doesn't know it?
Sue, are you all right?
Yes! Oh God, I just love surprises. I'm so freaking effing excited.
Ross came into this head-to-head still 1 game out of the first place 3-way in the West, and Joe is still giving chase 2 games back of our league leader James Berger, occupying second in the North. Joe delivered this week's 3rd highest score, and unfortunately, Ross saw several spots turn in sub-2-point performances, including a goose egg at quarterback. Joe could have started just his Kansas City players to win this one, but came just shy of the highest margin of victory of all time, which was 105 points set by Alex week 14 last year. Ross is now 2 games out of first, with 3 division games left to make up that ground, and Joe stays 2 games back in the North and keeps steady as the second place wildcard slot. Another above 160 performance came with one of the largest week-to-week turnarounds that I can recall. Andy posted a pretty low score last week and rebounded by 130.55 points. Unfortunately for Jeff, he wasn't able to turn last week's win into a streak. Speaking of streaks, our league's longest ended this week. Dee came into this week having won the first 2, then losing 8 straight despite some notable close calls. Dee joins all but one of her North compadres in a near sweep of the West Division, which would have been 2 weeks in a row that the West had been swept. Speaking of that near sweep, I was able to stop the West Division bleeding by taking one from my brother-in-law Steve. I narrowly beat my projection and Steve missed his by 10. This win puts me alone atop the West Division by 1, and now Steve slips to 2 games out of second in the North, but with space for a wildcard spot if his fortunes improve in these last 3 games. Speaking of the wildcard race, Josh Steinberg extends his winning streak to 3 games, still 1 game out of first and leading the wildcard race. Pete seemed pretty stoked on his team's performance in chat as he saw several sub-2 scores, including a sub-0 defensive score.
Sub-Zero wins. Fatality.
With every team in the East losing this week, Pete still sits 2 games out of first and chasing close for that wildcard spot. Josh's win keeps him pacing first by 1 game as Skinner came head-to-head with another Josh, the East Division's first-place team. Although this one had potential to be close as Sunday's games wrapped up, Josh had a tough hill to climb, needing Kittle to perform well while needing Garoppolo to do poorly. Ultimately, they both did great, and Skinner takes this one by 25 points exactly.
Okay, our next category, most uncomfortable grace. Our first nominee is Cameron for Teenage Grace.
Dear invisible man in the sky, you didn't provide any of this food for us, so I guess thank you, Costco?
In our other first versus first game, Burger of the North takes on Ulrich of the West. Alex turns last week's loss into a 2-game losing streak, and Berg extends this season's longest winning streak to 6 games. JB takes this one in decisive fashion, and Alex slips to second place in a virtual tie with Greg. And now, our Gobble of the Week.
You guys, I'm so happy that the whole family can be so happy the whole family can be together for Thanksgiving. Plus, my dear friend Trey.
Wouldn't miss it for the world, compadre.
This week's marquee matchup was a rematch of last year's Super Bowl featuring 2 worthy adversaries. The projection line predicted an 11/100th of a point difference here, and just as I felt in my close loss to Dylan last week, I'm sure he would appreciate a gimme at wideout. But that's once again the way she goes, bubs.
Lost all the liquor money, boys.
What?
That's the way she goes.
That's the way she goes?
That's right. That's the way she goes. That's what I said.
So you lost all our drink money is what she goes. She's gone.
That's right. It's the way she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes it doesn't. She didn't go. It's the way she goes.
Both of these guys missed their projections by nearly 30, and Adam keeps his division win hopes alive and is about 2 games out of the wild card. Luckily for Dylan, the whole of the East Division lost this week after every team had won last week, so he stays 1 game out of first and about a game out of the wild card. And now, our playoff projections. So that was week 11 and a refreshed look at our playoff projections. I predict a lot will be shaken up as we enter this home stretch of in-division games in the next 3 weeks. As it is, just looking at the upcoming games, we have maybe 3 games this coming week that aren't a battle for place within division. But going on a 3-game streak now will affect everything for everyone, so let's see some spoilers in close games. In the past 2 weeks, we've seen the last place team and the team with the longest losing streak win. Let's see a lot more underdog to close this one out and finish strong. Until next week, keep harvesting, Puritan Nation.
Hey! Oh, sorry I'm late. How was your flight, man? Good to see-
Shut up.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you at home.
Best night ever, now it's the worst night ever. The fucking way she goes, he said. The fucking way she goes, goddamn erections.